My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. It's my understanding that this is her first novel and that she spent a very long time writing this. I believe in the introduction she says she spent 18 years writing it or something like that, and doing research and things of that nature for it. I have a complicated, mixed opinion about this book. I don't feel that it was inappropriate. I don't feel it was written about in a way that offers any kind of sympathy to the perpetrator in this book. So that's a good thing. It's very clear the perpetrator, that no fault lies with the victim at all. That's made very clear. This is not a doubt in your mind whatsoever. However, I do have some issues with the way this book was written. The book starts out being rather boring. It is 15-year-old Vanessa and her day-to-day 15-year-old life at first. Now, where that was boring to read, I did feel like it did establish 15-year-old Vanessa very well as a young, naive, kind of introverted girl with an overdeveloped sense of romanticism. So I felt like there was a well-established 15-year-old girl. And then I felt like when Strain enters the picture, when he starts grooming her for victimization, I thought that was done very, very well. The writer did an amazing job of really painting that picture for you. What's very obvious to us, you can see him walking her into taking responsibility for the relationship so that in her mind, she is the responsible party in this relationship. He is shifting in her mind. He is placing the blame, if you will, for the relationship into her mind so that she feels like she consciously made the decision to enter a relationship with him. So the burden of responsibility is hers in her mind. Now, wonderful job with all that. The problem happens when the writer assigns 15-year-old Vanessa insights that she shouldn't be having. It is directly conflicts with the 15-year-old girl that she went through all that trouble to establish. I think what she might have been doing is when scenes would happen, she adds tidbits, which are Vanessa's insights into the situation, which are not insights that the 15-year-old Vanessa being portrayed would have had. She wouldn't have had these insights. And if she had had those insights, she would not have so blindly walked into that relationship. I think the author did this because she felt like she needed to explain what was happening in those scenes, as if we couldn't pick that up on our own. I think that's why she did that. I'm not really sure, but that's what it seemed like to me. And, that was not necessary. As the reader, you don't need her to point out what's going on in those scenes. We know, we get it completely, 100%. So it ended up making Vanessa's character extremely inconsistent. At least the 15-year-old version of Vanessa, very inconsistent and not at all believable. Where she was very believable at first, she just fell right off the map. I just poo-pooed her after that. I was like, nope, not at all. Not even the least bit believable now. So, then we move on to college age Vanessa. Very, very spot on. I thought college age Vanessa was a perfect portrayal of a girl who had been victimized by a teacher who was early 20s and in college. I thought that was great. She did such a good job. The author did such a good job with that section. Adult Vanessa, I have some mixed feelings about, where a lot of Vanessa's sort of warped thought processes and feelings of confusion and this sort of internalized anger that has not had a chance to surface is thrown off her entire life. I wasn't completely buying adult Vanessa either. I think the problem I'm having lies in the fact that the writer did not experience these things herself. She did not experience these things, and she's trying very hard to paint a very accurate portrait of what it's like to be a victim of this kind of abuse. Now, I feel like she didn't do it right. But I don't want to take away from the value of the book, because if you've never been a victim of this kind of thing, you can read this and you can get a pretty good understanding of what that's like, and a pretty good understanding of how someone could manipulate a very young person and even an adult. I thought it was a marvelous example of manipulation. Strain's character was excellent. I thought he was a very, very good character. He was very consistent. He stayed true to character through the entire book, and he was very, very believable. However, like I said, I think the author missed the mark. She didn't nail that. She didn't nail Vanessa's character. She didn't nail the victim side of the story. But like I said, I don't want to take away from the value of it, because you can gain a lot of insight by reading this book. You really can. I feel like if you're looking for something that is a realistic portrayal of abuse, sure, you could read this book. Just keep in mind that it's not a spot-on portrayal. There are things that aren't quite right, and things that I felt like had the opposite effect from what she was trying to have. She was trying to make sure that it was clear that Vanessa was always the victim, and that she was not making conscious choices about their relationship. But then there were spots where Vanessa was written where she slipped out of the mindset just enough to make her not believable. And like I said, 15-year-old Vanessa, she completely missed the mark on 15-year-old Vanessa, 100% missed the mark when she started assigning her insight that the 15-year-old she established shouldn't have had. But if what you're looking for is a dark, twisted, your jaws hanging open kind of read that's not based on what real abuse is like, then this is not going to be the book for you. It's that this book isn't trying to be that. It's trying to be realistic. It doesn't quite pull it off. So if you're looking for dark and twisted, I would recommend reading Innocence by Kathy Coote. That is a story about a teacher and a young girl's relationship that had my jaw hanging open. Through the entire book, my jaw was hanging open. And I got to the end of the book and I still had no idea how I felt about that book. It was just so twisted and so dark. So if that's what you're looking for, read that. Read Innocence by Kathy Coote. If you're not looking for that, and you're looking for the more realistic portrayal, you can read this. Keep in mind she missed the mark a little bit here. But I personally didn't care for this book. I have a lot of feelings about this book, and it was just not a good book for me to read. I don't think I should have read it. But I only gave it 2 stars because she missed the mark too much for me. I just could not. I felt almost offended by the fact that she was writing this book when she herself didn't really know what she was talking about. She was basing it only on the experiences of others and reference materials. So I felt, I don't know. I'm not comfortable with this book at all. I just wasn't comfortable with it. And that was just me personally. So I feel like if you yourself have been a victim of this kind of abuse or very similar, like sexual abuse, you probably don't want to read this. I don't recommend it for actual victims at all. So anyway, yeah, this book missed the mark for me. And that's pretty much all I have to say about it.